Akitaru is a hopeless loser with 0 girls in his life, except for his friend's sister, Iroha, whose full-time job seems to be tormenting him every chance she gets. One afternoon, while walking home, he complains to himself about how people say a crush must act negative to hide their feelings, when in reality they could just be honest if they wanted to. The moment he reaches his door, loud music shakes the entire room and he hears a girl's voice inside. He takes a deep breath to stop himself from exploding, walks in, unplugs the speaker, and complains about the noise. On his bed lies Iroha, pretending to be innocent and acting like he's the one who barged into her room. Akitaru reminds her she's the intruder, but she ignores him and continues messing with him. Even though she has headphones, she blasts the speaker just to annoy the other tenants, and especially him. She suddenly leans toward him, teasing him about her melons, just because he looked at where her headphones were hanging. When he resists her flirt tactics, she flips the story and claims he wanted to see her changing clothes. She even pretends she'll call the police, but Akitaru tells her he'll gladly call them for her, shocking her with how confident he is. She warns him that her words carry more weight with the government's robot officers, proving she'll do anything to cause trouble. She then reminds him she has a key to his house, twisting it into meaning he wants her around for fun. He denies everything, but she keeps pushing until she claims he'll miss her scent when she leaves. So, Akitaru sprays bug spray on her, saying he doesn't want any scent of hers in the room. She scolds him for treating his little sister badly, but he reminds her they are not related. She keeps insisting that because she's his best friend's sister, she automatically counts as his baby sister. Before he can argue more, his Uncle Mori calls. Akitaru tells her to be silent because the call is important. She pretends she'll stay still like a mannequin, but obviously she doesn't. His Uncle Mori is the president of Honey Place Works, the entertainment company Akitaru applied to. Mori says he can help him because he holds a high position, but he also has something he wants Akitaru to do. While they talk, Iroha sticks to him like a snake, listening to everything. Before Mori reveals the favor, he asks if Akitaru has a girlfriend. Iroha hears this and instantly goes insane, doing everything to disturb him. Her voice slips into the call, so Mori asks if someone is with him. Akitaru lies that it's just a cat, but Iroha keeps tickling him, making him uncomfortable. By the end of the call, Mori chooses a meeting location and says he's relieved. Akitaru doesn't have a girlfriend. After hanging up, Iroha acts like she did. Nothing wrong, and says she needs some thick milk, and Akitaru simply points her toward the fridge. The next day in class, Akitaru quietly copies his friend's notes until a stray eraser bounces in front of him. He picks it up and returns it to its owner. But instead of thanking him, the guy acts disgusted because he doesn't want loser traits transferring to him. Soon his best friend, Ozuma, who is also Iroha's brother, walks in and thanks him for helping. They talk, and Ozuma claims Iroha probably has a crush on Akitaru, but he rejects the idea since Iroha only torments him. Ozuma says girls think differently, but Akitaru still doesn't believe he's likable at all. Their conversation is interrupted when their strict math teacher, Sumayir, enters and terrifies the entire class. After school, a classmate rushes to tell Akitaru that a cute girl is looking for him. He checks, and of course it's Iroha. She speaks to him in a sweet, cute voice instead of her usual chaotic attitude, and she suggests they walk home together. When Akitaru says he might call Ozuma to join them, she stops him and says she wants to be alone with him. He scolds her for acting fake in public, but she immediately flips the situation and loudly claims they are a couple, shocking the entire school. She even lies that they played love games, leaving everyone frozen. Ozuma arrives and she continues lying that she and Akitaru are going on a date. Realizing she won't stop, Akitaru drags her to the stairway and demands to know what she's doing. She says she made herself his girlfriend because of the phone conversation. She overheard and acts like she's doing him a favor since he's trash. Akitaru gets angry for once, telling her the call with his uncle is important for his future. He walks away, but she suddenly grabs him from behind and claims she loves him, rubbing his back and saying she wants to stay close forever. It hits him emotionally, but everything falls apart when she reveals she was only joking. Akitaru stands there, embarrassed and red from ear to ear. When he finally collects himself, he says he'll never believe a word she says again. Akitaru meets his Uncle Mori at a cafe he chose for their meeting. Akitaru thanks him for making time despite his busy schedule, and Mori says someone else will join them soon. But first they should talk about other things. When Mori learns, Akitaru helped develop a game that already reached 1 million downloads, He's shocked, but Akitaru explains it was a group project created by his team, the Fifth Alliance. Even with that success, Akitaru believes the game could explode if promoted by Mori's company. Before discussing business, Mori tells him to look at the menu while a waitress arrives, and immediately, Mori asks her out, leaving Akitaru wondering how his uncle can be so unprofessionally creepy at his age. Annoyed, Akitaru excuses himself to use the restroom. Without looking, he pushes the door open and freezes. A girl is sitting on the toilet, staring at him in shock before screaming like a wounded cat. Akitaru panics and quickly leaves, and when he returns to the cafe, the same girl is there, now dressed properly and sitting with Mori. She introduces herself as Mashiro, Mori's cousin. Akitaru wants the ground to swallow him whole, but Mori continues speaking like nothing happened. Then Mori finally reveals the condition. He will hire Akitaru and his team only if Akitaru becomes Mashiro's boyfriend until she graduates. Mashiro nearly dies from embarrassment hearing this, and Akitaru isn't far behind. Mori explains that Mashiro has never attended a public school, and he wants to protect her. Akitaru sees how nervous the girl looks and, wanting to help, agrees to the deal. Mashiro reluctantly agrees too, but only because the relationship is fake and because she hates Akitaru's guts. Before they leave, Mori warns Akitaru that if he dares touch Mashiro, he's dead. Akitaru already knows that, so he simply nods. The next school day, Akitaru enters the classroom and bumps into Iroha, who instantly suspects something is going on with him. She demands answers, but he tells her to leave him alone. When she realizes he won't talk, she walks off, jealous and irritated. A moment later, the door opens again, and Mashiro walks in, introducing herself as the new student. The entire class stares, mesmerized by her aura. Then she casually drops a bomb. She and Akitaru are dating. The classroom explodes in shock. Everyone sees Akitaru as the class trash, so they can't understand how he landed someone like her. When they ask Mashiro how they met, she panics and blurts out the truth that they met in the bathroom, triggering even more chaos. Mashiro quickly ends her introduction and takes her seat, which unfortunately is right beside Akitaru. But instead of acting like his girlfriend, she treats him like he's a disease. When he whispers that she's supposed to play the role, Mashiro coldly tells him she hates him, and they should at least keep their stories straight, so no one notices how much she despises him. Before Akitaru can respond, Ozuma taps him on the shoulder, shocked that Akitaru hid a relationship from him. Akitaru promises to explain later. At lunch, Akitaru reveals everything to Ozuma, who jokes that Akitaru is lucky, but Akitaru believes the opposite. Ozuma again claims Iroha loves him, but Akitaru tosses that idea away, saying Iroha only brings chaos to his life. Ozuma leaves to get food, and right then, the annoying green-haired classmate arrives to brag about his love life. In the middle of his nonsense, he mentions the little girl. Akitaru is always hanging out with Iroha. Mashiro walks in just in time to hear that, misunderstanding everything. Akitaru tries to explain that Iroha is Ozuma's sister and nothing is going on between them. He finally gets rid of the green-haired guy by triggering his fear of the strict teacher Sumayir. Mashiro then approaches Akitaru and bluntly orders him to buy her rice balls. He's confused because he never signed up to be her servant, but she reminds him that he's her boyfriend and should act like it. Akitaru reluctantly goes to buy them, and of course she doesn't thank him when he returns. A moment later, Sumayir enters the classroom and destroys a student's will to live in 10 seconds. Mashiro experiences her wrath for the first time and nearly faints. When class ends, Sumayir stops Akitaru and tells him to come to her office. Everyone thinks this is the end for him, but Akitaru walks in confidently. Inside the office is a bizarre room filled with strange, torture-looking gadgets. In the center sits a throne-like chair, and when Akitaru sits, Sumayir runs over, bows deeply, and bursts into tears. She apologizes for being late with her project. Akitaru is confused until she reveals she's the illustrator for the Fifth Alliance, their secret fifth member. She begs for forgiveness for submitting late, and Akitaru scolds her like she scolds students in class. When he hears she's behind schedule again, he nearly locks her in one of the painful devices, but stops when she admits she has artist's block. Akitaru tells her she should have come to him earlier for help, but she says she was trying to maintain her aura points. Annoyed, he grabs her pressure points, releasing all her stress at once. The sensation reminds her of the first time she met him, which she calls the worst moment ever, but Akitaru calls it the best. After she calms down, he tells her to submit her draft quickly, and she calls him the cruelest man alive. Akitaru says she brought it on herself. As he prepares to leave, she asks about Mashiro, and he explains the fake relationship was part of the deal. Tsundere thanks him for helping their team. She then reveals Mashiro was bullied in her old school after classmates discovered a secret about her. She asks Akitaru to protect Mashiro, and he promises he will. When Akitaru returns to the classroom, he finds Mashiro quietly packing her things. Trying to be friendly, he suggests they walk home together, but she glares at him with a chilling expression and tells him not to speak to her at all. Embarrassed, she runs out after realizing everyone is staring at them. Ozuma walks up to Akitaru, concerned, and tries to comfort him about his disastrous situation with Mashiro. Akitaru is exhausted and miserable, but he's determined to find a way to at least become friends with her. Later, while Akitaru is alone in the locker room, Iroha sneaks up behind him and plants her melons directly on his back. He doesn't realize what's happening until she points it out herself, and the sensation hits him like a truck. Iroha continues pressing herself against him, making things worse. She isn't even wearing proper underlayers, which completely overwhelms Akitaru's senses. He freezes, terrified of doing anything. If he pushes her off, her melons might fall out in front of the students. If he stands there, he'll die of embarrassment. If Mashiro or his uncle found out, his whole future would collapse instantly. Iroha teases him, saying she'll let him go only if he surrenders. Panicked, Akitaru makes the most unexpected move. He grabs her tightly and carries her on his back like a hostage. Escape mission. Running through a quiet route where no one can see them. Once safe, he forces an apology out of her and then tosses her onto the floor for causing chaos again. On their walk home, Akitaru suddenly asks Iroha how he can make a woman who hates him start liking him. Iroha freezes. Her eyes widen. She immediately asks if he has someone he likes now. Akitaru denies it, but explains the entire situation with Mashiro. After listening, Iroha smirks and says she has a solution that will make Mashiro fall for him instantly. The next day, Akitaru follows Iroha's advice, or curse. He shows up to Mashiro acting like her loyal lapdog, literally wearing a leash around his neck and doing everything she commands. Instead of impressing her, it disgusts her completely. She grabs him by the leash and drags him outside, furious. Mashiro demands to know why he's acting stupid. When he explains the goal, she gets even angrier. He admits he doubted the plan, but still did it, which pushes her over the edge because he went through with something he didn't even believe in. Before Akitaru can apologize, Iroha appears, proud of her brilliant idea, and announces that she was the mastermind behind it. Mashiro immediately realizes Iroha is the girl people said Akitaru hangs out with. Akitaru tries to clarify, but Mashiro walks away in total frustration. That evening, when they arrive at the apartment complex, something unbelievable happens. Mashiro is moving into the apartment right next to them. Akitaru, Tsundere, the siblings, and Mashiro now all live in a straight line, making things even more chaotic. Akitaru wakes the next morning mentally drained. Just trying to walk his usual path without encountering drama has become impossible. As he opens his door, Mashiro steps out of hers at the same time. They stare at each other awkwardly, before Mashiro turns her head away with a harsh, "Don't talk to me," then walks off. Akitaru follows from a distance like a criminal trying not to be seen. Iroha sees both of them and immediately senses drama. Outside, Mashiro accidentally bumps into a group of delinquents who try to hit on her. Akitaru notices and, without thinking, rushes forward to shield her. Even though he's terrified, he stands between her and the delinquents. They mock him at first, but his determined glare surprises them. Mashiro watches silently as Akitaru tries to defend her despite having zero fighting skills. Before anything escalates, Tsundere appears, delivering a terrifying verbal death sentence to the delinquents, who flee instantly. Mashiro stares at Akitaru, slightly touched, but quickly hides it by turning away. While heading home later, Iroha confronts Akitaru about Mashiro, asking if he seriously wants this girl to like him. When he quietly says yes, Iroha feels something crack inside her. But she keeps smiling. Days pass, and Akitaru continues trying to figure out how to talk to Mashiro without making things worse. Every time he approaches her, she either walks away, glares, or shuts him down instantly. Even so, Akitaru refuses to give up. He remembers Tsundere's words about Mashiro being bullied at her old school and decides he wants to protect her no matter what. One afternoon, while returning to the apartment hallway, Akitaru sees Mashiro struggling to carry a heavy grocery bag. Before she can shoo him away, he gently takes the bag from her and carries it for her. Mashiro's eyes widen in surprise. No one has ever done something like that for her before, without expecting anything in return. But instead of thanking him, she mumbles a quick, "Don't misread this," and storms inside, leaving Akitaru standing there, confused yet slightly hopeful. The next day at school, things get worse. Some classmates begin whispering about Mashiro's transfer, spreading rumors that she was kicked out of her last school. Mashiro overhears them and freezes. Her hands tremble, her eyes go dim, and she quietly leaves the classroom. Akitaru watches this and follows her out, finding her in a corner, hugging her knees and shaking. For a moment he hesitates. Mashiro hates him after all, but he slowly approaches her and sits beside her, not saying a word. He doesn't touch her or intrude. He simply sits next to her so she won't be alone. Mashiro stays silent for a long time before whispering that people at her old school found out something personal about her and used it to torment her. She says she transferred schools to escape it, but now the rumors are starting again. She asks why people are so cruel. Akitaru looks at her seriously and says, "There's nothing wrong with her. People are just cowards who attack what they don't understand." Mashiro stares at him in shock, because this is the first time anyone has ever spoken to her so gently without pitying her. But the moment things seem to be improving, chaos strikes. Iroha barges into the hallway and immediately misinterprets the situation, accusing Akitaru of emotionally seducing Mashiro. Mashiro dries her tears instantly and storms off, embarrassed. Akitaru facepalms so hard it echoes. Later that evening, Mashiro refuses to even look at him in the apartment hallway. Akitaru tries to apologize, but she cuts him off with a cold, "Leave me alone." Despite this, she hesitates before entering her room, glancing back at him for just 1 second. A tiny sign that she doesn't entirely hate him anymore. Iroha notices all of this and becomes strangely annoyed. She confronts Akitaru, asking why he's trying so hard for someone who clearly wants nothing to do with him. Akitaru simply says he wants to protect Mashiro because she needs someone. Iroha clenches her fists, faking a smile, and tells him he's an idiot for being soft. The next school day, a major event happens. Mori, the entertainment company president, appears at the school out of nowhere. Students panic, teachers bow, and rumors spread instantly. Mori calls Akitaru and Mashiro to meet him privately. Mashiro stiffens in fear, thinking he will expose their fake relationship. Inside the room, Mori looks intimidating, but simply asks whether Mashiro is adjusting to school and whether Akitaru has been doing his job as her boyfriend. Mashiro blushes angrily, and Akitaru tries to maintain a straight face. Mori then warns Akitaru one more time that if he breaks Mashiro's heart, his entire career will be destroyed. Akitaru nods seriously. Mashiro secretly glances at him, testing whether he's actually sincere. For the first time, she sees determination in his face and feels something unfamiliar inside her chest. As they step out of the office, Mashiro softly says, "Don't mess this up. It's the closest thing to trust she has given him so far." The air at school becomes heavier after Mori's visit. Everyone begins treating Mashiro like some kind of celebrity, while Akitaru gets even more hate than usual. Students whisper behind his back, calling him trash, a leech, or a lucky worm. Mashiro overhears it all, and although she pretends not to care, something inside her begins to twist uncomfortably. During lunch break, the class decides to test Mashiro. A group of girls ask if she's really dating someone like Akitaru. Mashiro freezes. She remembers the deal with Mori. She must stay by Akitaru's side until she graduates, but saying it out loud in front of everyone makes her cheeks burn with humiliation. Still, she nods quietly. The class gasps. A few boys faint. One kid drops his bento, but then Iroha storms in and immediately claims Akitaru as her boyfriend instead. The class erupts again. Mashiro slams her hand on her desk and stands up, glaring at Iroha so intensely the room turns cold. Iroha backs away dramatically, pretending to be scared, but the smirk on her face shows she's enjoying every second of the chaos. Akitaru arrives just in time to see both girls staring each other down like predators ready to pounce. He panics and rushes between them, begging them not to fight, but both ignore him completely. To Mashiro, Akitaru is her assigned protector. To Iroha, Akitaru is her favorite toy, and now both refuse to let the other win. Later, the teacher forces Mashiro and Akitaru to stay after class for a group assignment, hoping it will improve their communication. Mashiro sits stiffly, avoiding all eye contact. Akitaru tries to break the silence by suggesting ideas, but she either grunts or pretends not to hear him. After 20 minutes of awkward tension, Akitaru gives up and rests his head on the desk. Mashiro finally speaks. "Why are you trying so hard?" Her voice is quiet, almost trembling. Akitaru raises his head and tells her honestly that he doesn't want her to suffer alone anymore. Mashiro freezes. No one, not even her own family, has ever told her that directly. She quickly looks away so he won't see her blushing. But before anything else can happen, Iroha barges into the classroom again, grabbing Akitaru from behind and pressing herself against him. Mashiro's jaw drops. Akitaru panics and tries to pull away, but Iroha clings to him tightly, teasing him with a wicked smile. Mashiro stands up with a cold, terrifying silence. She walks over, grabs Akitaru by the wrist, and pulls him away from Iroha with surprising strength. Iroha takes a step back, blinking in shock as Mashiro glares at her with eyes sharper than knives. Without saying a word, Mashiro drags Akitaru out into the hall. She doesn't stop until they reach the quiet staircase. Akitaru tries to say something, but Mashiro cuts him off with a furious whisper. "Don't let her touch you like that again." Her voice shakes, not with anger, but something far more dangerous. Jealousy? Akitaru is too stunned to answer. Mashiro realizes what she just said, panics, and instantly hides behind her usual cold attitude. She tells him she simply wants to avoid misunderstandings for the sake of their fake relationship, then walks off quickly, ears burning red. For the first time, Akitaru realizes Mashiro might actually care. Just a little. That night, Akitaru returns to the apartment building completely exhausted. Between Mashiro's sudden jealousy and Iroha's non-stop chaos, his brain feels like a fried circuit board. All he wants is to collapse on his bed and forget the world exists, but life refuses to give him peace. The moment he enters the hallway, he sees Mashiro standing in front of his door, holding her bags. She's trembling, not from fear, but from frustration. When she spots him, she turns away dramatically. Akitaru blinks. "Oh, Mashiro?" She clenches her fists. "My guardian moved me here. I'm your neighbor now." Akitaru's soul leaves his body for a moment. This is the same hallway Iroha and her brother Azuma live in. This is the same hallway Sumair lives in. This is officially the worst possible place for Mashiro to live. Mashiro tries to unlock her door, but her hands are shaking so badly she keeps missing the keyhole. Akitaru tries to help, but she glares at him coldly. The girl who blushed earlier now acts like he doesn't exist, but Akitaru can tell something is off. For the first time today, she looks scared. He gently asks if something happened at her previous school. Mashiro stiffens. A long silence follows before she finally whispers, "They found out about my secret. They bullied me. They laughed at me. I didn't want to go back." It's the most vulnerable she has ever been. Before Akitaru can respond, Iroha's door slams open, and she appears dramatically with a towel around her head like a queen stepping out of a spa. "Oh-ho, what's this? Mashiro-chan moving in next to my Akitaru?" Mashiro immediately hides behind her bags like a startled rabbit. Akitaru groans internally. He knows exactly where this is going. Iroha walks over, swaying her hips like she's on a runway, and leans close to Mashiro with a devilish grin. "You're cute, but don't get any ideas. Akitaru belongs to me. We have history." Mashiro's eye twitches. She whispers, "He's not yours." Iroha gasps dramatically, putting a hand on her chest. "Not mine." "Sweetheart, he knows every inch of my house and I know every inch of his room." Akitaru nearly dies on the spot. Mashiro turns red with a mix of horror and fury. Iroha smirks. "Don't worry, Mashiro-chan. You'll understand eventually. Akitaru always chooses me." Mashiro grabs Akitaru's sleeve with both hands, like a child clutching a safety blanket. "No, he chooses me." The hallway goes silent. Iroha freezes. Akitaru freezes. Even the neighbor's cat freezes. Mashiro realizes what she just said and instantly covers her mouth, mortified. But it's too late. Her blush gives her away completely. Iroha's expression slowly shifts into pure, delighted chaos. Oh! So the Ice Princess likes him?" Mashiro panics and hides behind Akitaru, using him as a shield. Akitaru has absolutely no idea how to react. His heart is beating like he just ran a marathon. Before Iroha can start round 2 of her teasing, Sumair appears from her apartment holding trash bags, looks at the 3 of them, and sighs like she's witnessing the end of humanity. "I can't leave you idiots alone for 5 minutes." Mashiro clings tighter. Iroha pouts. Akitaru wants to jump into the trash chute. And this is only day 1 of Mashiro moving in. The next morning is pure chaos. Akitaru tries to sneak out early before either girl notices. But the second he opens his apartment door, Both Mashiro and Iroha open theirs at the exact same time, like guard dogs triggered by movement. Mashiro steps out holding her lunch bag. Iroha steps out holding nothing but trouble. They both see him. They both freeze. Akitaru internally screams. Iroha instantly pounces first. "Good morning, my future husband," she chirps, looping her arm around his like she owns him. Akitaru stiffens. Mashiro's eyebrows twitch. Mashiro quietly steps forward and places her hand on Akitaru's other arm. "He walks with me." Iroha gasps dramatically, whipping her hair in slow motion. "Excuse me? Are you challenging me to a duel, Mashiro-chan?" Mashiro doesn't blink. "If necessary." Iroha beams like she's been waiting her whole life to hear that. Akitaru tries to wiggle free, but they're glued to him like rival magnets. He ends up walking down the hallway dragged by both girls like a prisoner being escorted to trial. When they reach the school gate, students immediately begin whispering, "Why is the trash guy walking with two girls?" "That's illegal." "Is he cheating on someone?" "No, they're fighting over him." Akitaru wants the earth to swallow him. Mashiro tightens her grip, glaring at anyone who looks too long. Iroha, meanwhile, waves proudly as if she's parading her pet. Inside the school, the situation somehow gets worse. During homeroom, Mashiro sits silently beside Akitaru, stiff and straight like a princess trying to behave. But every time someone speaks to him, she shoots a cold death stare across the room. When Iroha arrives late, she marches up to the desk, slams her hands down and declares, "Akitaru is sitting with ME for the next class." Mashiro immediately stands up. "No, he is sitting with me. I said he is sitting with me. I said he is sitting with me." The entire class freezes as the two glare at each other so intensely that even the lights flicker. Akitaru tries to interrupt. Maybe I can sit alone." Both girls turn to him at the same time. "No." He shuts up instantly. The teacher enters, sees the tension, and decides she values her life too much to intervene. She assigns random seats, and by sheer cosmic trolling, Mashiro ends up on Akitaru's left while Iroha is on his right. Both stare at him the entire lesson. He feels like a sandwich being judged by competing chefs. After school, Azuma pulls Akitaru aside. "Bro, you need to choose one before they destroy the building." Akitaru nearly cries. "Choose what?" "They don't even like me." Azuma pats him on the back. "One does." One doesn't know she does. Akitaru freezes. "Wait, who?" Azuma just smirks and walks away. That evening, Akitaru returns home exhausted only to find Iroha waiting in the hallway, and Mashiro waiting on the other side. Both look at him. Both take a step forward. Iroha smirks. Mashiro blushes. Akitaru prepares to die, and this is only day 2 of Mashiro living here. That night, Akitaru attempts the impossible, sneaking into his apartment without either girl noticing. He tiptoes down the hallway like a ninja, moving slow enough to avoid making even a breath of sound. He reaches his doorknob. Victory is seconds away. Then both doors fly open. Mashiro. "Where were you?" Iroha. "Why are you sneaking around, my little cockroach?" Akitaru's soul evaporates. Mashiro stands with her arms crossed, eyes narrowed with suspicion. Iroha leans against her doorframe like a smug villain, clearly enjoying every moment. Akitaru tries to explain, but Iroha cuts him off. "You're avoiding me, aren't you?" She pouts dramatically, stepping closer. Mashiro immediately steps between them, blocking her path. "He isn't avoiding you. He's tired. Leave him alone." Iroha smirks at Mashiro. My protective much?" Mashiro's face goes red instantly. "Shut up." Iroha grins wider. "Oh ho, are you perhaps jealous again?" "No." She says no, but her blush says yes. Akitaru desperately tries to calm them before they fight in the hallway. He raises his hands. Okay. Let's just relax." Iroha grabs his left arm. Mashiro grabs his right arm. Both glare at each other, while clinging to him like two wolves, fighting over the same chicken. Akitaru mentally prepares to ascend to heaven. Finally, Sumiyo's door opens, and she looks at the three of them with absolute disappointment. This is a residential building, not a love triangle arena. Iroha, quadrilateral. She might like him too. Sumiyo chokes on air. Mashiro looks horrified. Akitaru wants to move to another planet. Sumiyo sighs so hard the lights flicker. "I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that." She slams her door shut. Akitaru frees himself and rushes into his apartment, leaving both girls staring at each other in the hallway like gunslingers in a western standoff. The next morning, Akitaru steps outside and freezes when he sees Mashiro standing by his door, holding a lunchbox. She avoids eye contact, I made this because I owe you. Akitaru is shocked. Mashiro actually cooked for him? Before he can thank her, Iroha kicks her own door open with demonic energy, holding a much bigger, much fancier lunchbox decorated with stickers and ribbons. I made him one too, she yells proudly. Mashiro's eye twitches. You didn't make that. You bought it. Iroha gasps dramatically. How rude. I slaved in the kitchen for at least... She checks her nails. 8 minutes. Mashiro steps closer. He will eat mine. No, mine. Mine. Mean. Akitaru stands between them, holding 2 lunchboxes, questioning every decision that led to this moment. Students in the courtyard stare as Akitaru walks in with both. Girls following him closely like bodyguards. Whispers echo everywhere. Is he running a harem? Why does Trash get all the luck? I want whatever shampoo he uses. Akitaru just walks faster, praying the ground will open and swallow him. After classes, Akitaru heads to the staircase to take a break, thinking he finally escaped the drama. He sits down, sighs deeply, and closes his eyes. Then a shadow falls over him. He opens his eyes. It's Mashiro. She sits beside him silently. After a long pause, she whispers, Why do you let her touch you? Akitaru's heart stops. Before he can respond, another shadow appears. Iroha. She plops down on his other side. Why do you let her follow you around? Akitaru realizes he is sitting between 2 ticking emotional bombs, and he has no escape. Akitaru wakes up the next morning with a single prayer in his soul. Please, no chaos today. But destiny laughs in his face. He steps out of his room, and before he even gets a chance to blink, Mashiro opens her door. Iroha opens hers. Both stare at him like hunters who spotted a lost rabbit. Mashiro takes a step forward. Walk with me today. Iroha instantly grabs his hand like she's claiming property. Nope, he walks with me, obviously. Akitaru stands awkwardly, arms pulled in 2 directions like a stretched rubber band. He tries to escape by pretending he forgot something inside. Iroha blocks him. Mashiro blocks the other side. He is trapped between a tsundere wall and a demonic gremlin. Finally, they agree on one thing. They'll both walk with him. Akitaru's soul leaves his body. When they reach school, the students explode with gossip. Why is he with the 2 cutest girls? Is this a love triangle? No way, Trash Boy got 2? Someone check if he hypnotized them. Mashiro, embarrassed but trying to look composed, walks close to Akitaru like a princess protecting her knight. Iroha clings to him openly like she's showing off her new toy. She even says loudly, This man belongs to me! Mashiro twitches but stays silent. For now. In homeroom, the teacher tries to take attendance, but the tension between the 2 girls fills the room like smoke. Even the chalk seems scared. When Akitaru sits down, both girls drag chairs closer until they're nearly glued to his sides. I need to talk to him, Mashiro says softly. I need to talk to him more, Iroha snaps back. Akitaru raises his hand. I actually need to breathe. Both glare at him. He puts his hand down. During break time, Mashiro quietly gives Akitaru a small, neatly wrapped bento box. I made this for my boyfriend, for appearance's sake. Akitaru blushes slightly, but Iroha instantly snatches the box. Oh wow, how sweet. Too bad I made him breakfast too. She pulls out a giant picnic-style lunch from her bag, clearly prepared just to compete. Mashiro narrows her eyes. You're trying too hard. Iroha smirks. You're not trying hard enough. Akitaru sits between them, sweating like someone tied between 2 bombs. During class, the teacher asks a question. But before any student can answer, Mashiro quietly leans in and whispers, Listen only to me. Iroha leans on his other shoulder. No, listen to me. The entire class watches, stunned. Akitaru wants to cry. After school, as they walk home, Mashiro suddenly stops him. Thank you? Her voice cracks lightly. For what? He asks. Mashiro looks away. For not abandoning me. Even though I've been terrible to you. Before he can respond, Iroha jumps between them dramatically. Well, look who's developing emotions. Mashiro turns red and points at her. You're making things harder for him. Harder? You should see me try, Iroha grins. The 2 begin arguing louder and louder while Akitaru stands between them like a referee who desperately wants to quit his job. In the end, both girls storm into their own apartments. Slamming their doors at the same time, Akitaru stares at the hallway, wondering how his life turned into a live-action love war. But deep down, both girls are thinking the same thing. I won't let her take him. The next day, Akitaru walks into school praying for a peaceful morning. Naturally, the universe denies him. The moment he steps into class, every student freezes like statues. Why? Because Mashiro is already sitting beside his desk, and Iroha is standing behind his chair like a guard dog. Azuma leans in from across the room, whispering, "Bro, did you cheat on someone? Or did they both just decide your life is their playground?" Akitaru wants to disappear. Mashiro greets him softly, almost shyly. "Good morning, boyfriend." Iroha smirks, leaning over his shoulder. "Good morning, future husband." The entire class dies on the inside. During the first lesson, Mashiro tries her best to maintain her model student act. But every time Iroha moves closer to Akitaru, Mashiro twitches like she's about to draw a sword. During break, the green-haired annoyance shows up again. He leans in and goes, "Akitaru, you lucky dog. I can't believe you have little girls and high-class beauties crawling all over you." Akitaru chokes on air. Before he can correct him, Mashiro overhears "little girl" and freezes. Her eyes go sharp. "Little girl?" Iroha pops up behind them. "Oh yeah, he always hangs out with me. We're super close." Mashiro's expression shifts from confused to nuclear. Akitaru tries to defuse the bomb. "Oh no, she's my best friend's sister. She's just..." Mashiro cuts him off. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" Before he can answer, the green-haired guy proudly walks away, leaving Mashiro glaring holes into Akitaru. She walks up to him slowly. Do you like her?" Akitaru panics. No, that's impossible, no." Iroha jumps in with a wicked grin. "Don't worry, Mashiro. If Akitaru liked me, he would have already jumped into my arms." Mashiro blushes, clenches her fists, and storms off. Akitaru sighs and chases after her. At lunch, Mashiro suddenly demands, "Get me rice balls." Akitaru blinks. "Why me?" Mashiro looks away, whispering, "Because you're my boyfriend." Act like it. He ends up running errands for her like a panicked servant. When he returns, she doesn't even thank him. Iroha, however, loudly thanks him on purpose. "Thank you, my loyal follower," just to get under Mashiro's skin. Mashiro twitches. "You're annoying." Iroha smiles brightly. "And you're jealous." The class watches the silent war like a reality show. During math period, their terrifying teacher, Sumayiri, storms in. Everyone instantly straightens up like soldiers. Mashiro is terrified. Iroha pretends to be terrified. Akitaru is used to it. After an intense lesson that nearly kills half the class, Sumayiri looks at Akitaru and says, "Come to my office now." The entire room screams internally. He walks in expecting doom. But instead, Sumayiri kneels before him and bursts into tears. "I'm sorry." "I'm sorry. I submitted the project late. Please don't expel me from the team." Akitaru sighs deeply. "You scold everyone for being lazy, but you are late?" Sumayiri shakes, bowing even lower. He lectures her like she lectures everyone else. Calm, cold, and merciless, she almost lets him lock her in one of her weird punishment devices before admitting she has artist block. After relieving her pressure points, she regains her sanity and blushes, remembering their awkward first meeting. When Akitaru finally leaves, Sumayiri whispers, "Thank you. Also, help Mashiro. She's hurting more than you think." Akitaru thinks about this on the way back. When he returns, Mashiro is packing her things aggressively. He tries to walk her home. She glares at him, whispers, "Don't talk to me," and runs out of the classroom. Azuma puts a hand on Akitaru's shoulder. "Tough day, huh?" Akitaru nods weakly. But trouble isn't done. In the locker room, Iroha sneaks up behind him, pressing against his back. He freezes as the warmth hits him. Iroha whispers, "Do you need comfort?" He can't move, and she knows it. Akitaru stands frozen in the locker room, his brain crashing like a cheap computer as Iroha presses herself against his back. She knows exactly what she's doing, and she's enjoying every second of his panic. Iroha giggles softly. Akitaru, you're so tense. Do you want me to relax you?" Akitaru gulps so loudly it echoes. He tries to move forward, but Iroha wraps her arms around him tighter, pulling herself closer, whispering in his ear, "You know, I'm not wearing anything underneath today." Akitaru's soul evacuates his body. He stands stiff like a statue, thinking one thought, "I am dead, I am absolutely dead." Iroha smirks, sensing his weakness. She presses even closer, her voice low and dangerous. "Just fall for me already. It'll be easier than fighting." Akitaru's brain short-circuits. He can't push her away. If he does, something will fall. In front of the students, ending his entire existence. He can't stay still either because she'll never stop. He is caught in her trap. She whispers again. If you surrender now, I'll let you go. But Akitaru suddenly takes a deep breath and does the most unexpected thing ever. He grabs Iroha tightly, lifts her slightly, and carries her on his back like a sack of chaos. Iroha gasps. What? Put me down. No, Akitaru says with surprising confidence. I'm taking you somewhere no one will see you. Iroha is stunned. No teasing. No flirting. Just shocked silence. He rushes through the hallway, avoiding crowds, ducking behind corners, basically speedrunning for privacy. When they reach a quiet spot behind the stairwell, he finally lets her down. Iroha immediately starts pouting. How dare you carry me like a bag of groceries? Akitaru smirks, regaining his sanity. You were about to embarrass both of us. Say sorry. Iroha whines like a child. I don't want to say sorry. Akitaru crosses his arms. Then I'll carry you again. She panics instantly. Okay, I'm sorry, don't touch me. He nods like a strict parent. Good. Iroha stomps her foot, flustered beyond repair. As they walk home together, Akitaru suddenly asks her a serious question. How do you make a girl who hates you start liking you? Iroha freezes. She slowly turns toward him, eyes wide, voice trembling. Are you saying you like someone? Akitaru shrugs. Just answer the question. Iroha's jealousy explodes like a volcano. Her entire face heats up. How would I know? I'm not a love guru. Akitaru explains everything. Mashiro's cold treatment, her anger, her confusion. Iroha goes silent. Then shockingly, she sighs and says, Fine, I'll help you. Akitaru blinks in disbelief. You will? Iroha crosses her arms dramatically. Of course. Someone has to fix your pathetic love life. The next morning, Akitaru follows her plan. And her plan is insanity. Iroha forces him to act like Mashiro's loyal lapdog. Carry her bag. Open doors. Follow her around. Akitaru feels like a clown. Mashiro stares at him with growing disgust. She grabs him by the leash on his neck. Yes, Iroha added a leash and drags him away furiously. What are you doing? Are you trying to embarrass me? Akitaru tries to explain the plan. Mashiro gets even more furious. Before things get worse, Iroha appears out of nowhere, waving. Mashiro immediately realizes Iroha is the mastermind behind this humiliation. Her expression darkens. She's the girl you always hang around with. And when she says this, her voice sounds hurt. Akitaru tries to fix it, but Mashiro storms away. That evening, when they return home, Mashiro is standing in front of the apartment door, holding a brand new key. Iroha freezes. Akitaru freezes. Mashiro says quietly, I moved in. I'll be living next door too. And thus, the love war officially becomes a battlefield. On the same apartment floor, Mashiro stands there with her new apartment key, looking like a silent thundercloud ready to strike. Akitaru's soul slips out of his body. Iroha stops breathing. Even the hallway light flickers as if the drama is too strong. Mashiro avoids their eyes and quietly says, My uncle arranged this. I'll be living here. So don't bother me. She walks inside and slams the door. Akitaru stands frozen like a crashed robot. Iroha squints at him. You're dead. Akitaru rubs his face. I know. The next morning becomes a disaster speedrun. Akitaru heads out for school, and Mashiro steps out at the same time. They lock eyes. Mashiro immediately turns away with a cold glare sharp enough to cut steel. Don't talk to me. Akitaru opens his mouth anyway. Mashiro! No. Her voice is so icy, even the birds outside stop singing. At school, things only get worse. Mashiro takes her seat but doesn't look at him even once. Not a word. Not a glance. Just pure premium grade ignore him until he dies energy. Azuma finally leans over and whispers, She's mad. Like, nuclear mad. Akitaru collapses on his desk. I know. Later, he goes to the bathroom to escape the situation. But fate hates him. Because Iroha appears behind him like a jumping scare ghost, pushing her chest against his back again. Hi, Akitaru, miss me. Akitaru internally screams, Iroha, not here. She smirks. You looked sad. I came to cheer you up. He stiffens like a board as she leans closer, whispering, Feeling better now? No, he feels worse. He feels like he's about to be expelled from life. Akitaru tries to walk away, but Iroha holds him again, pressing more boldly this time. Relax, no one's watching. Wrong, because someone is watching. Mashiro. She walks by the bathroom door and freezes when she sees them. Iroha glued to Akitaru like a sticker on a laptop. Her face turns completely blank. No emotion, no reaction. Just a quiet, terrifying expression that hurts more than shouting ever could. Akitaru panics. Mashiro! This isn't... She turns around and walks away without a single word. Not even a sigh. That silence hits harder than a punch. Akitaru shoves Iroha back. Why did you do that? Iroha pouts. I was helping your mood. How was I supposed to know she'd walk by? You knew she was mad at me. Iroha crosses her arms indignantly. Well, maybe if you liked me instead, this wouldn't be an issue. Akitaru nearly passes out. He marches out of the bathroom, guilt eating him alive. Later that day, he hears Mashiro talking with Tsundere outside the classroom. Mashiro whispers, I shouldn't have come here. It was a mistake. Akitaru feels his chest tighten. He caused this. He made her regret coming. He let Iroha mess everything up again. He wants to talk to her, but Mashiro avoids him every time. Walks away. Ignores him. Pretends he doesn't exist. Days pass like this, and Akitaru reaches a point he never expected. He misses her. Her coldness. Her stubbornness. Her awkward behavior. Everything. He wants to fix it, but he doesn't know how. One evening, he finds her outside the apartment talking quietly with Tsundere. When she sees him, she instantly stiffens. He takes a deep breath. Mashiro, can we talk? She doesn't answer. She doesn't run. But she doesn't look at him either. That tiny hesitation, that 1 second of pause, tells Akitaru he still has a chance. A small chance. A fragile one. But a chance nonetheless. And he decides right then. He'll fight for it. Akitaru takes a shaky breath, gathers every ounce of courage he has, which is not much, and steps closer to Mashiro. She still refuses to look at him. Staring at her shoes like they're more interesting than his entire existence, he quietly says, I want to explain. Mashiro doesn't move, doesn't blink, doesn't even flinch. Tsundere slowly backs away, leaving them alone like she's escaping a crime scene. Akitaru continues, desperate now. That day, in the hallway, what you saw, it wasn't what you think. Mashiro finally lifts her eyes. Cold, unforgiving, like winter staring back at him. Then what was it? She asks softly, because it looked exactly like what I think. Akitaru panics. Words start falling out of his mouth like broken puzzle pieces. Iroha, she's insane. She keeps doing things without permission. She threw herself at me. I didn't. Mashiro cuts him off, whispering, Then why didn't you push her away? That question hits him like a punch to the chest. He freezes. Mashiro clenches her fists. That day, when I saw you two, her voice cracks just barely. For the first time, I wondered if I was the stupid one for agreeing to this. Akitaru feels the floor dropping under him. He never wanted to hurt her. Not even for a second. Mashiro, I'm sorry. Mashiro turns her head slightly. Sorry doesn't change what I saw. She walks past him, heading to her door, but stops in front of it. Without turning around, she quietly says, I didn't come here to make friends, or to be happy, but I didn't expect to feel worse because of you. And then, she enters her room and locks the door. Akitaru stands in the hallway, feeling like his chest got stomped by a bus. Iroha suddenly appears behind him. You messed up big time. Akitaru doesn't turn around. I know. Iroha sighs deeply. You really like her, don't you? Akitaru stays silent. But silence is an answer. Iroha forces a fake smile. Well, then stop acting like a clown. He finally looks at her. Help me make things right. Iroha folds her arms. What am I, Cupid? A dating service? Akitaru gives her a tired look. You caused half of the problem. Iroha flinches. Okay, fair. She taps her chin dramatically. I'll help you, but only because I don't want you moping around like a sad dog. Akitaru nods. What do I do? Iroha smirks. You be honest with her. No jokes. No excuses. No running away. Akitaru swallows hard. That's terrifying. Iroha pats his shoulder. That's love, idiot. The next morning, Mashiro enters class without looking at Akitaru. The students whisper. The green-haired boy stares. Tsundere watches like a disappointed mother. Akitaru takes a deep breath. He stands up. Everyone looks at him. Mashiro freezes. And then, he walks straight toward her seat. Mashiro tenses as he stops right in front of her. The classroom goes silent. The entire school seems to hold its breath. Akitaru opens his mouth. and what he says next will decide everything. The entire classroom freezes as Akitaru stands in front of Mashiro. No jokes. No running. No Iroha screaming in the background. Just him and her. Mashiro doesn't look up. Her fingers grip her desk tightly like she's preparing for the worst. Akitaru swallows the fear building in his throat. I need to talk to you, he says quietly. The class erupts. Oh! Is he confessing? No way the class trash is doing this. Mashiro stands up immediately, cheeks flushed with embarrassment. Not here, she whispers. But Akitaru shakes his head. No. Here. Mashiro's eyes widen. He has never looked so serious. Not even when Iroha was trying to crush him with chaos. Akitaru takes a breath. I didn't push her away because I was scared of making things worse. Mashiro blinks. What? Iroha does things that feel impossible to react to. She's unpredictable. And I froze. But that doesn't mean I liked it. Or wanted it, or chose it. Mashiro's heartbeat stumbles. Akitaru continues, voice steady. You didn't deserve to see that. And you didn't deserve to feel hurt because of me. The room is silent. No whispers. No giggles. Just him standing there like a man for the first time. I know this arrangement between us is fake, he says. But the way I treat you doesn't have to be. Mashiro finally lifts her head. Her eyes are trembling. Not angry, not cold, but wounded. You're telling the truth, she asks. Akitaru nods without hesitation. I don't want to hurt you. Not ever. Mashiro's breath catches. Her guard softens for the first time since she entered the school. Before she can speak, the green-haired boy shouts, Wait, are you two actually dating? Mashiro shoots him a death glare. Yes, we are, the class screams. People almost faint. Someone drops their pencil like it's a grenade. Akitaru is stunned she said it. Mashiro exhales, then steps closer to him. You made me upset, she whispers. But thank you for telling the truth. Akitaru nods slowly. Mashiro continues. I don't forgive you yet. Her voice softens. But I won't walk away anymore. She turns her head so the class can't see her blush. And if we're going to pretend, we should at least make it believable. Iroha bursts into the room at the worst moment possible. What did I miss? Mashiro grabs Akitaru's sleeve possessively. Iroha freezes. Oh, so that's how it is now. Mashiro narrows her eyes. Yes, he's my boyfriend. Iroha presses her hands to her head, dramatically screaming. My trash boy got a girlfriend before me? The class laughs. Akitaru sighs. Mashiro hides a tiny smile. And for the first time, he doesn't feel like a loser. Not trash. Not ignored. Not hopeless. Just a boy standing next to someone who finally chose to stand beside him. The story continues. But for now, Akitaru's life has officially changed.